Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Levi.
And I'm Josh.
And we're from Tasmania Unearthed, and we're just here to, today, give you guys some recommendations on what to do for a weekend in Hobart. There is so much to do within the city, even though it is a small state and even smaller city compared to places like Melbourne. And we want to make sure that you guys have the best experience possible and you don't miss anything on the few days that you have here. So I guess
we're talking about our, bread and butter realistically, aren't we?
Pretty much. We're both locals here. We've grown up. I grew up at the north. You've grown up
in Hobart for at least 20 years. Yeah. We'll go in with the assumption that probably most people are going to be trying to make a long weekend of it. Yeah, I guess look at how you might potentially look at an itinerary from the Friday and then go from there.
Yep.
So, I guess assuming flying in Friday morning, let's say you're getting in somewhere sort of around mid-morning, a couple of different options you could potentially look at. So first one being the Port Arthur historic site. Tell us a bit about that.
Brilliant. So Port Arthur is going to be around an hour and a half away from Hobart, from the airport. Before traveling, you might want to consider two things: either getting yourself a vehicle, so then you can just travel at your own leisure, or getting a tour that goes to Port Arthur, which includes transport. So you do have those two options, and everything else on this list is something that you can do without a vehicle, but we highly recommend getting one. And if you pick it up at the airport, you can go straight there. So when you're driving to Port Arthur, you're going past Eaglehawk Neck. I'd recommend stopping in there, grabbing a coffee at Cubed Espresso, and then you've pretty much got the historic site is the main attraction that everyone's going to. You do have to pay on entry. Check that in advance, but then that gives you access to I think it's a boat tour. Someone might even walk you around. That was my experience when I was there as well.
Explore the grounds, go down there, have lunch as well. If you're flying with your dog, you can take your dog down there.
As well. I think Virgin recently allowing pets to travel with people on board. It's coming. So if that's a pit, you might have your dog with you, and I'd recommend that would be a fun experience to do with your pet. And while you're in Port Arthur, there's a few other walks and things that you can do if that's up your alley. So you've got
tessellated pavement.
Yep. So that's in Eaglehawk Neck on the way.
What's the other one?
Cape Hoy.
Yes.
Cape Row.
If you've got a bit of time, they do take a few hours at least. Blowholes and Blowholes one.
Yep. Remarkable Cave.
Yes, and that's the other one as well.
So this is probably more for the summer months where it's daylight and warm until 8-9 p.m. But if you're in the winter months, you probably can't tack any of those things onto the end.
It'll be fresh.
Yep, definitely.
Very fresh.
So that's Port Arthur. That's one recommendation. Hit us with another one.
Another one you could look at is potentially Bruny Island as well. So we wouldn't recommend doing both of those in the same day. It's really like one or the other. Bruny Island, so you're probably going to spend about 45 minutes actually getting to Kettering. You'll then catch a ferry off the top of my head, so somewhere around I think $30 or $40 to actually get to Bruny Island itself. And then from there, realistically, whiskey tours, if you're into oysters, some great places to stop for honey and some local cuisine as well. Local breweries down there as well. Cheese, another one as well. A couple little walks you can stop and check out as well.
Cape Queen Elizabeth is on the way. The Neck lookout, that's a classic. Adventure Bay, just at the end of Adventure Bay is another walk as well.
Hotel Bruny, great spot for lunch.
That would probably be my go-to recommendation. Really cracking place there. And then you've got the Lighthouse down south. Now, it's deceptive how long that might take you. It's probably an hour after getting off the ferry. So 45 minutes to Kettering. Now, you can book the ticket in advance, but I think it comes as a first come, first served basis. So if there's already a massive lineup, you might not make it on that ferry, but rest assured you'll make it on the next ferry. So keep that in mind.
Just bear in mind that might be a little bit longer over long weekends. A lot of locals head down there for camping, taking caravans down as well. If you don't want to drive down, there are some boat tours through Pennycott Tours, which are excellent as well. Some of those full day, half day, include food and stops as well, or some bus tours down there as well through a couple other providers us as well, which we can throw some links to for you to check out as well. But yeah, a couple of different ways to tackle Bruny as well. Yeah, so once we've tackled Bruny, look, if you find that you don't necessarily have the full day available on the Friday, another potential option is to probably actually do the thing that realistically really kicked off Hobart in a lot of ways is actually the Mona Museum as well. Again, useful to have a car. It's probably actually not the way I'd recommend going. The boat cruise from Brook Street Pier, which is sort of 3 or 4 minutes walk from Salamanca, is an awesome way to actually go about getting there. It's about sort of 20-25 minute cruise along the Durham River, head under the Tasman Bridge, head out to Mona. A couple of I guess they sort of play on the class system a little bit. So you've got your the posh tier, and then sort of the average classes as well in there for a bit of fun. If you want to spoil yourself, Posh Pit is excellent, drinks and food on board. But yeah, cracking way to actually get to Mona. There is a little bit of a climb. I think the 99 steps they call it, to actually get to the museum from the boat, so just bear that in mind. But awesome way to get to Mona. And then Mona is something in and of itself, realistically, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an experience. It's not just a museum you're going to look at a few paintings. There is a lot of different type of content there. Some of it isn't child friendly, so bear that in mind. Contact in advance, but it's just incredible. I love taking photos, and I know that there's always going to be something there that I can photograph, something new, something fresh. They're constantly rotating things through. Highly recommend visiting.
Good architecture as well. Building's amazing. Again, own winery, own brewery out there. A couple of spots to stop for a bite to eat as well. So well worth sort of making the time to spend the day down there. Almost fundamental part of Hobart to visit in some ways. So yeah, don't miss it.
Yeah, I'd say you only need a few hours there if you want to squeeze it in. 2 hours from leaving Hobart, seeing the museum, coming back would be the shortest amount of time that I'd say. You're probably going to be rushing it a little. 3 to 4 would be safe, but you can happily spend a lot longer there if you want to, so just keep that in mind.
And catch the ferry the way back, and hopefully back to close to where you're staying at least.
Yeah, brilliant. What's another place that we could go to?
Mount Wellington's worthwhile exploring as well. Again, got your own car, drive up there yourself. That'll take around half an hour from sort of the Hobart CBD. If you were to do your own shuttle, again, tours that sort of leave close to the information centre and other areas as well. Probably a little bit longer. Obviously, then you're limited by, I guess, how long the tour's prepared to wait up there. But they're fairly generous, and it's somewhere around sort of the hour mark generally. So which would be more than enough time to sort of pot around and explore for a little bit. Want to make sure you don't get blown away either, which can almost happen while you're up there some days.
Yeah, it can be very, very windy, and we do have a write-up on that with some more information. So if you want to find out more about Mount Wellington, how to get there, what you can do while you're up there, just link will be above. Go check that out.
If you've got your own car as well, you might swing by Cascade Brewery on the way back.
Yep, that's a great spot, and I'd recommend going after rather than beforehand. Lock that in for the trip. There's tours as well of the actual brewery itself, so if that's something that you're interested in, definitely consider that on your trip.
Yeah, 100%. So we've made our way to potentially Sunday at this point. How might you start your Sunday, Levi?
I would start a Sunday off with a very nice breakfast. I love my food. One of my go-to places for food is Born in Brunswick. Really solid for a morning brunch, essentially. And they don't take reservations, so just walk in. And if you have to wait a few minutes, I'd say wait a few minutes. Food's lovely. That would be how I would start a Sunday. How would you go?
Slowly. That's what I do. Farmers markets in the city. So we actually, close off a small section of the city every Sunday, and a lot of sort of little, smaller or boutique sort of, producers for lots of different things: breads, eggs, fruits and veggies, some food vans, coffee as well, like butchers, like all sorts of things. Also, all head in there. every Sunday, and you're able to buy and sort of enjoy some local produce for the morning. That's definitely well worth exploring, and a nice sort of pleasant way to explore your Sunday, either before or after breakfast.
Yeah, you can even grab breakfast there if that's something that you want to do, just to cut out the time beforehand. And then after you're at the markets, the Botanical Gardens is probably a great way to spend maybe midday to late afternoon, and that is within walking distance of the city. But if you have your own vehicle, it's just so much nicer just to drive there.
Yeah. If you're perhaps more like historically minded and sort of really into the culture of Hobart, I suppose, a couple of walking tours as well. So Mac 1 Hotel do offer some walking tours from their hotel with some of what they call their local storytellers. Otherwise, Hobart Walking Tours is another company as well that offers some local guided tours around Hobart as well, sort of heading into Battery Point on the other side of the waterfront as well.
Yeah, and I think that doing some of these slower activities is probably good to do on the Sunday, because that's likely the day you're flying out, and you don't want to be away from the city. Yeah, and then going, oh, we're now an hour and a half away and things have not gone to plan. You're within the city. If you've caught the Sky Bus in, whether you've driven in, it's now only a short drive back to the airport, around 15-20 minutes, and you're there. Depending on which car rental agency you go through, you just drop off straight at the airport basically and walk in within a minute or two. So slower activities on a Sunday, it's good to keep them there. That's the way I would probably finish it. Now, on Saturday, there is one activity that actually, outside of Mona, probably one of the most famous activities that everyone wants to come to Hobart.
Didn't even mention it, did we? Gosh.
What would you go and see on the Saturday morning?
Salamanca Market would be a really good place to go out. I guess another one of those things that Hobart is famous for. Again, closing off, Salamanca Place for essentially almost the full day. What it would be a couple of 100 meters worth of markets. Yeah. Again, similar to, I guess, the farmers markets as well, in terms of local producers and across all sorts of categories, I suppose. Absolute must. I would probably pitch it as.
Yeah, and now if you're not wanting to spend a lot, you can probably get enough free tastings to almost make up a breakfast or a lunch. Walking you through.
Cost conscious.
Yeah, it's very cost conscious, but I would say so much better to actually go and support some of the local producers there. There's a sausage, like a German sausage there, that's just the classic go-to. Whenever I'm there with family, we go there. Always delicious. There's some seafood chowder that some people love. I don't go too hard on that myself, but
good coffee.
Great coffee. And there's an iconic photo spot as well, which you'll see here. I'd recommend going up to the top of the markets, down one side and then all the way back down the other, grabbing that photo halfway through. And then after the market, there is a pickup point for the Explorer bus that goes up to Mount Wellington. So if Mount Wellington was something you wanted to do, the Explorer bus is just 200, 300 metre walk away. That could take you off for the next part of the day. Or you jump on the Mona Ferry.
Even closer again.
So it's a great, I guess, area to maybe start off your day, and then you've got a few options going out from there.
Yeah, walking around Battery Point, just behind the markets as well. Great little place and historical area of Hobart as well, sort of where some of our older buildings and heritage sites are. So nice little spot to walk around.
Now, for each of our days, there's going to be places that we're wanting to eat, places that we're wanting to stay. What is a go-to for you for breakfast, lunch and dinner? And then also maybe one hotel that you'd recommend.
I'm probably going to be a little bit biased on the hotel, having been a former employee, but certainly either Henry Jones or Mac 1. I guess if you're really wanting to spoil yourself for a weekend, either of those options are excellent. Great service, top quality hotels, I guess right in the heart of the waterfront, just really, I guess, really showcase, the special historical elements of Hobart and the unique stories that we have as a state, which is really cool. In terms of places to eat, I'm going to leave this one to you, actually. I reckon you're probably the expert in this.
So, as I said before, Born in Brunswick would be a go-to for breakfast. If you're on the Eastern Shore, I don't mind the brekkie brioche from the Groundsman Cafe as well. They would be my recommendations. For lunch, that's a tough one. I like Burter. Burter's on Liverpool Street in the heart of CBD. That would be one of my go-tos. And then for dinner, there are quite a number of places that I would find myself at. Urban Greek is one of them for a bit of Greek cuisine. I do love a kebab from Kebab Rehab in North Hobart. It is not your fine, classy, like you gotta be welcomed with DJ party music. There aren't any lights, but I feel like it's probably the environment where like almost a mini rave like could take place. Delicious food there. That's where I'd go for a kebab. And then
you could do places like, if you're after something a little bit, special, I suppose, Black-Footed Pig in the Mac 1 building, Fico on Macquarie Street, Templo if you really want something that's really quite intimate and like a little bit different as well. I'm not opposed to a good steak, either Levi, so Frank on the Hobart waterfront as well, and in Salamanca, Rockwall would be two excellent options as well. You could probably even explore somewhere like Landscape in the Henry Jones building as well. That's probably heading a little bit more towards that fine dining territories. But if that's if that's the sort of food experience you enjoy, well worth checking out as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think like that's certainly a good start for your weekend in Hobart. I guess if there's like any other recommendations you might have, or any questions or anything you're going, you really missed out on this, you buffheads. Throw them in the comments.
Yes, please.
Including that phrase, hey buffhead,
Yeah. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. We'll keep them.
Like the video as well.
Yeah, give the video a like. That just helps us in the algorithm, just to keep showing and help other people see this content, see your comments and your recommendations, and overall just let everyone have a better experience every time they travel to Tasmania.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.